Okay, so this is our post-run sequence, and we're going to do it'll be about 20 minutes, and each pose we're going to hold for about a minute. I don't think you'll need too much. You may want some bricks to support you. If you haven't got bricks at home, you can use sturdy books, and you'll want a towel or a blanket that you can roll here. And we're going to come straight into a low lunge to begin with. So you can go off there with your ball. And you may want to place your blanket for this one underneath a knee. Let's start with the right foot forward. And you're going to bring the left knee onto the blanket if you want to, here. And you could also give yourself a little bit of height for your hands with a bolster if you've got one. But if you haven't, then don't worry about that too much. You can just pop yourself hands on the floor or hands on the brick. Good. And then we're going to settle in for about a minute. And whether your hands are on the bolster or you could even have your forearms on the bolster, just allow yourself to come into this pose about 60 or 70% of your range of motion, that ability. And then gently breathing into the tissues that are challenging you, the places in the body that are challenging you. And what we know from recent research is that these short holds, about a minute or so, regularly, so 5 times a week if you can, are much more beneficial than the longer holds. Good, we're going to switch legs. So just slowly, slowly, slowly bring yourself back. Take the right knee onto your blanket. Step your left leg forward. Set yourself up. Hello. Yes. We'll go for a walk in a minute. Okay. Good. It's quite good having a dog around to distract you when you're holding these poses. Takes your mind off the pose, let's say. Be here for about another 4 or 5 deep breaths. Good, really nice. And then really slowly, 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 slowly push down to bring the hips back. And then just walking the hands back so you can step that left leg back. And then we're going to take the blanket and just place it behind you because we're going to use that in a minute. This next one, we're going to come into broken toe pose. Again, we did this in our warm-up twice. So I want you to tuck the toes, and then this time you're going to bring your hands just towards the floor and you're going to bring yourself back. So it's a little bit like a squat, but the heels are lifting off the ground. And the closer that you bring the heels to the ground, the more that you're going to sense what's happening in the front of the foot. So just find a place that you're going to be able to hold for about a minute. Hello. Not right now, not right now. No. I know. Why don't you have a seat? Good. So just sense, you can bring yourself deeper into this by taking your heels closer to the ground, or you can bring yourself forward out of it a little bit further. Make your choice there. Shh, shh, shh. Good. And then bringing yourself out. And we're going to move straight into a pose where we're just working into the front side of the foot and the leg. So you want to have your blanket, and depending on your body, it will depend on the thickness of the blanket. I like mine quite thick here. And then I'm going to bring my toes onto the blanket. And you'll sense this is working right through the front of the leg and the shin here, the tibialis anterior. And we're just going to hold here for about a minute or so. So if you want to shut the eyes, you can shut the eyes. Take a couple of deep breaths. And like I said, the power in these little sequences is to do them as regularly as possible. That's when you're going to begin to notice the change in the tissues. Once a week isn't really going to be enough, which is why we're keeping the sequences quite short. Good, lovely. Taking a few more breaths. Great. And then we'll come out of this one. So just bring yourself forward. Take your knees wide here. Bring your big toes to touch. And then we're going to lean ourselves back, placing the hands on the mat into a kind of variation of saddle pose. Now, if this is too challenging for you, you could always take bricks underneath the hands if you needed to bring the floor up. And again, we're going to be here for about a minute. Seeing if you can keep the tailbone lengthening forward towards the top of the mat. So if you need to pick the hips up and kind of lengthen it forward, and just do that for yourself. I actually prefer mine without the bricks. Good, lovely. And we're going to bring ourselves out. So just engage the belly to help you to come out. And then this next one, we're going to lie onto the belly. So it's really up to you. If you want your blanket, you could place it underneath the hips if it's a little bit bony there. So you're going to come down onto your belly. And then forehead can come towards the hands. And I want you to bring your left heel in towards your bottom. And just gently hold the heel in towards the bottom there. And again, we're going to be here for about a minute. With each exhalation, just finding that release through the quads, through the front of the hip. And if pulling the foot in towards the bottom is too challenging here, you could always use a strap or a band or a scarf from home if you're short of yoga props, and just wrap that around the foot. Good. Couple more breaths on this side. And then we'll release that one down and we'll switch legs. So bending up the other knee, grabbing the foot or the ankle. And again, just bringing the heel in towards the bottom. Lovely. A few more breaths on this side. And then just slowly release, pushing yourself all the way back and up towards a seat. Now our next pose is going to be Badaquinas, or bound angle pose. So I like to sit myself on the blanket here, just so that I've got a little bit of height for my hips. Soles of the feet are going to come together. The knees are going to fall wide. It doesn't matter how close the feet are towards the groin. Whatever feels most comfortable in your body, and then just holding on somewhere to the ankles. And you can either stay upright, or if you want to, you can roll yourself forward and just allow the head to drop. Sensing all those hard-working tissues down the back of your body unraveling. Remembering that we're an interconnected being, and although we are looking to support the feet and the ankles and the legs and the hips as runners primarily, there's a lot more to the work that we do as runners through the whole body. Good, one more breath. And then slowly pushing yourself up. We're going to stay on the roll. You're going to extend your left leg forward. Bring the right foot on top. We're coming into Ardha Matsyendrasana. Now you can either keep this underneath leg extended and then just turn and twist towards the right side, or you can bend that leg back if you want to go a little bit deeper. And then twisting yourself to the right side, again, coming into about 60 or 70% of your range of motion. You don't want to go full throttle with these opening stretches. Allow yourself to unravel here in this twist. Really don't need too long. About a minimum of 30 seconds to a minute regularly. One more breath on this side. And then unravel. And if you bent the underneath leg back, just lengthen it out again. Stack the right knee on top of the left now. So this right foot is just kind of resting on the floor, turning out. It's not grounding through the mat. And then we're going to come into half Badaquinas. Now, again, you could stay upright here if this is already a lot for the legs, or to get a bit deeper into the back of the leg, you can fold yourself forward. Good, lovely. Just another few breaths. And then slowly draw yourself back up, and we'll switch sides for those two poses. So lengthen the right leg out, bring the left leg up. Again, you can choose to take the foot across the leg, and if you want to add on, you can double that underneath leg back. But if you want to keep it extended, keep it extended. And then twisting towards your left side and just hugging the knee. Keeping that gentle rhythm to your breath. You can shut the eyes if you want to. Just another few inhales and exhales here. Good. And then unraveling and coming into Badaquinas on the other side. So if you bent the underneath leg, just unbend it and then stack the knees on top of each other. Good. The option to stay upright here or fold forward. And again, see if you can settle in for about a minute. We'll take a few more breaths. Good, and then bringing yourself up, and we're going to come down onto the back next. Now, I really like to take this next pose with a bolster under my feet. So you're going to, if you've got a bolster, you can use that. If not, you can just use the floor. But I quite like this one with a bolster. So you're going to lie yourself down on your back. You're going to bring your feet onto the bolster, both feet. And then you're going to take your right knee in towards your right armpit and grab the outside edge of your right foot. So we're coming into half happy baby. And just gently using the support of the left foot on the bolster to help to soften you in here into that right hip. Good. Let's take 2 more breaths on this side. Make them slow ones. Good. And then bringing the right foot down and bringing the left knee in and grabbing the outside edge of the left foot. And if the outside edge of the foot's not available for you, you could take the fingers around the toe, or you could just grab onto the shin or the calf somewhere so that you can support yourself that way. So there's a few different options. Softening in. Nice, long, slow, deep exhales. Good. Couple more breaths. Lovely. And then our final position is going to be a twist. Now you could use a support if you wanted to. I'm not going to for this one. I'm going to roll my bolster away. But you could use a bolster or a blanket to support underneath the knee. So you're going to draw the right knee in, keep the left leg extended out, and then just roll yourself over onto your left side. And if you wanted to place a bolster underneath this right leg, or you could use a brick or a blanket for something softer. And then see if you can open the arms in a T shape and keep the gaze just up at the ceiling. It doesn't matter if that right arm and that right shoulder can't come to the floor. If it's super challenging, you can bring the right hand just to rest gently on the shoulder. Good, and then switching sides, so just rolling yourself back gently onto the back. Lengthen the right leg out, pull the left knee in. And then taking that leg across the body. You might need to just shift the underneath hip back in space a little bit on your mat so that the hips can be stacked. And again, if you need support under the knee, you can grab it. Let's take 2 more deep breaths on this side. And then breathing in, we're going to gently unravel. And breathing out, just coming into Shavasana, lengthening the legs and the arms out. And seeing if you can linger here for a minute or so, just to consolidate all of that work. You can stay here for as long as you like, but if you want to begin to move again now, you can. Making sure that you put this sequence at the end of your run or later in your day after your run, every time you run, and making it a minimum of 3 times a week. Even if you don't run, I would take the time to do the sequence. Just making sure that you can get at least 3, if you can, up to 5 of these sequences done every week, and then notice what changes are happening in the body. Notice how it affects your run, and notice if there's pain or constriction or stuff going on that you've shifted through by regularly repeating this sequence, and let me know how you get on. Namaste.